It was a bit of a shock, Harry, when Conservative Home came out against Liz Truss, saw your editor did, over the weekend. Does any of this change the position, do you think?
Oh, well, I think as Tom Harwood was saying, the idea of pulling, once a decision's been made, the idea of avoiding delay, avoiding uncertainty, I think is sensible. So I'm not sure that it'll make a fundamental change. But the difficulty the plotters have got, and it's almost flattering them to call them plotters, is because they don't really know what alternative they're wanting to have. They don't know who they're wanting to have as leader. They don't know what mechanism they're wanting to have to choose the leader. They don't know what any new leader should do. And of the three that we've had so far, they probably don't even agree among themselves who should be the leader. So I'm actually a bit more sceptical than most people, including my boss, Paul Goodman on Conservative Home, about the idea that Liz Truss will be going anytime soon. I think that although there's a huge amount of sort of panic and despondency among Conservative MPs, I don't think they're in a mood to take this sort of leap into the unknown.
But it seems like a rudderless ship, doesn't it?
Well, let's see how things work out. I actually thought Jeremy Hunt, new Chancellor, did pretty well in his interviews. He didn't sound as though he was, a man who was in a great sense of panic. I mean, one of the things is that he still made clear that he believes, obviously Liz Truss does, in a smaller state, lower tax, low regulation, wealth creation, and it's about getting through this storm, as he put it. And so I think there'll be some Liz Truss supporters who won't have given up on those, as Tom Harwood said.
Fair.
The basis.
Rishi Sunak said that, so I mean, it's hardly, a unifying comment.
Well, and in the 2019 manifesto, as Tom Harwood was saying, I mean, these are the basic Conservative policies. So I think there's agreement for those. It's a question of how much prospect Conservatives feel of being able to get back on course before the next election.
I mean, so Stephen asked, it feels a bit rudderless. Do you then think it's not rudderless, but it's just that the Chancellor has his hands on the rudder? Well,
I think that it's the difficulty we have is not that that tax is too low, but its spending is too high. And so the way to really get through this is to get spending down. And that, I think, is what's challenging in terms of all the suggestions from all the Tory MPs that any cuts would be very painful. I don't actually think that's necessarily true. I think there is a lot of scope in terms of, for example, huge amounts spent on quangos. I mean, astonishing amounts. We've had this huge increase in spending. So I think that's probably what they'll need to do sooner or later is to get a grip on spending. And I think that's I hope, something that the Prime Minister and the Chancellor will have been discussing at Chequers yesterday.
Well, I mean, that'd be all right, wouldn't it? Get rid of a lot of quangos, because we wouldn't notice the difference then, would we? No,
well, and of course it would tie in with getting rid of the regulations, because the other thing is we've got a huge burden of regulation, and a lot of the time it's the officials going round telling farmers what to do or small businesses what to do, attacking the self-employed. So I think that would be, if we're getting rid of a lot of regulation, one of the benefits would be we wouldn't need as many quangocrats. So I think that's the kind of agenda that the government, probably the Prime Minister and Chancellor, would agree on, and most Conservative MPs would agree on, and they need to get a bit assertive and get a bit on the front foot, really, and then I think there's a way through.
OK, we shall see. Harry, good to talk to you. Thank you very much.